session of English literature class. So for today, I have decided to split the class into two sections. For the first section, we are going to talk about literary and poetic devices, because regarding the homework that I have given you, I have got a lot of questions about what's the difference between alliteration and consonants, and repetition and refrain. And for the second session, we are going to talk about some vocabulary related to the IT. So, the first thing that I want you to keep in mind is that for the repetition, repetition and refrain. Refrain is somehow a type of repetition. Okay, and as another type that we have done before, we have anaphora, which we have done in the poem The Road Not Taken. So for refrain is the repetition of a word or phrase, but at a distance. For example, we might find a word in the first stanza and then again another word in the second or the third or the fourth. As for the anaphora, is the repetition of a word, specifically a word, at the beginning of consecutive clauses. Now, I don't know if you guys still remember the poem The Road Not Taken. Sorry. Now, if you remember this, the anaphora, which is again another type of repetition, is something that we have over here. Two roads diverge in a yellow wood. Here we have no anaphora. But if you notice, over here we have the repetition of the word and in the second, third, and fourth line. So this is again a type of repetition, but we call it anaphora. And as for refrain, we might use the expression yellow wood. We have it over here and somewhere over here, yellow wood, yeah. So two roads diverge in a wood, and here we have two roads diverge in a yellow wood. So I hope this will clear your confusion between repetition and anaphora. But I only want you to focus on the anaphora part because, you know, if you're ever going to have an exam, it's going to be about that. Now, the second most complicated one, alliteration and consonants. So for both of them, the thing they have in common is that they're both about the repetition of a consonant sound in following or adjacent words. Now I'm going to give you two examples, one for alliteration and one for consonants, so that it will clear the confusion. So let's start with alliteration. After the wicked woman from the west was arrested, wished she wasn't rich. Now, you may notice that we have a sound here that's repeated a lot. And that sound is, yes, you guessed it right, sound wa. So we have it here, wicked, woman, west, wished, wasn't, and which. So for the alliteration, it is the repetition of a consonant sound in following or adjacent words, as we have here, but usually at the beginning of the word. At the beginning. Now for the consonants. The big ugly frog leaped on a log. Now here, you should be able to notice the difference. Here we have the repetition of the sound "w" at the beginning, but here we don't have any repetition of the sound at the beginning, but rather we have it at the end. Big G, frog, and log. So here, the repetition is at the end, right? So, as a recap, repetition, we have a lot of types when it comes to repetition, but the most common ones that we have in the literary and the poetic devices is refrain and anaphora. Refrain, as we saw in home burial, it was the repetition of the expression or the phrase, "What do you see?" And anaphora, as we have over here in the road not taken. As for alliteration and consonants, so technically they are somehow the same because we repeat a consonant sound, but one is at the beginning and another one is at the end. So I want you to take a moment and to look at this wide and clear and try to grasp it because it's really easy, but remember, here I only want you to focus on anaphora, and here I only want you to focus on alliteration for the exam, that is. Now, I have given you a question as a homework. Is for you guys to tell me what are the main themes that we have in the first stanza. So, of course, I'm not going to delve much into it because in the last video we have talked about it a lot. But here I'm just going to give you the main ideas so that it will be a bit clear for you in your mind what are the main themes in this stanza. So the first thing that we have noticed, of course, is the communication gap. If you remember, the wife is upstairs, the husband is downstairs, so this does somehow represent the communication gap. The second point is the misunderstanding. So the wife is looking through the window and the husband, he has no idea why she's looking through the window. And she's so angry why he does not understand that she's looking through the window because she's looking at the graveyard because they just lost a child. Point number 3, which is a very important point, is apathy. Now, if you remember the word apathy, apathy means the lack of concern or interest. So for the wife, I repeat, for the wife, not for the readers, for the wife, the husband lacks a lot of apathy because he doesn't show any concern in the, or he's not even sad about the death of his child, but actually he is, but for the wife he is not. And the fourth point is the sorrow. So the apathy is for the husband and the sorrow is for the wife, which, by the way, his name is Duke and her name is Amy. And of course, if you have read the poem, you would know, which I'm not sure of, but anyways. So that would be it for home burial. I hope it's clear, and I promise it's going to be the last session. I'm going to talk about the poem, and for our next class, we're going to work on a new literary piece, maybe a short story or maybe another poem. Let's see. So yeah, I hope it's clear for you. So for now, I'm going to talk about, one second. Yeah, I have no power. There it is. Now, if you remember, and by the way, this is only for the 9th graders because we started working on this before the break. So we started talking about social networking. right? And what are the social medias that you guys know, and how do you use them, which one is your favorite. So for today, we are going to learn some new vocabulary that I'm sure you guys are familiar with, but I want you to start using it in your everyday conversation about IT. Before we go there, I want to show you, okay, so these are the vocabulary that I'm sure you guys know. You know, status, comment, share, ping, dislike, newsfeed, update, upload, emojis, viral, subscribe, and meme. But for today, I would like you to learn some more formal vocabulary. So here, the first one we have here is to key in your password, means to type your password. To type a secret word that gives you access to a computer. To install a program is to put a program on a computer. For example, you want to install Skype or Dropbox, you know. To attach a file is to add a separate element like a picture or a document or a video, especially in emails. To have a network coverage is to have a signal that lets you make phone calls. On the phone, on the top, you have the signal icon to see if you have network coverage or not. To upload a photo is to make an image available on the internet, and usually the arrow is on the top, but to download, the arrow is down. To delete a message, I'm sure you guys know that one. To open an attachment is to click on the icon of a file that comes with an email. So if you notice, most of these vocabularies are related to emails, so it's more formal. To buy an application is to pay for a program for your mobile or tablet, which I'm sure you guys is something that you're very familiar with. To activate flight mode, of course, is to switch on a function on your mobile or tablet so you can't go online, especially when you're on a flight and the flight attendant, she or he tells you, please put your phone on the flight mode. And the last one is to download a file, is to copy information on a program from the internet on your computer hard disk. Now here we have 10 vocabularies that I want you to remember the definition to, because I'm going to ask you about them in the exam. And also, these are some extra IT terms that I want you to keep in mind as well, so please pause the video. I know that you don't have your books with you, but that's okay. That's why I'm showing the answers over here so that you'll get to memorize the definitions. So we have the first list of 10 IT terms and the second list of 6 IT terms. Right, so I think this would be it for today's class. I didn't want to make it long because I know how much you love watching my videos. So I want to give you a homework for next week. That's not related to the poem, but related to your favorite subject, which is social media. Alright, so I want you to answer a couple of questions, but I don't want you to send me 1 or 2 sentences, but I want you to write me a thorough and detailed paragraph. So the first question is, how often do you post something on social media? Now I know that most of you would want to run away from the answer and you tell me, oh teacher, I don't post a lot on social media, so I don't know what to tell you, but I know it's a lie because I know how addicted you guys are to media. And the second question is, what kind of things do you usually post? Okay? So how often do you post something? And also, what's the content? What's it about? So what kind of things? Is it memes? Is it about politics? Is it about general knowledge? I don't know. Is it about gossip? Which I'm sure that's what you guys do. But yeah, so this is it for today's class. Please remember the homework, and I want it by, what's the day? Today is Thursday, so I want it by Monday, okay? So 2 questions. First one, how often do you post something on social media? And remember, when I say social media, I mean all social media, not just Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, but all the social medias that you guys have. And especially now that you guys are home on quarantine, I'm sure that you post a lot of things. And TikTok, for the famous people on TikTok. And that's you, Islam, by the way. And the second question is, what kind of things do you usually post about? So what's it about in general? Alright, so that's it for today's class. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next week on a new topic that's not home burial. And take care of yourselves and stay safe, and please use the time wisely. Thank you.